Good afternoon, everyone. How was your morning? It's been a really great morning being all together again. So many good sessions, so many good breakouts, so much learning. I hope you had a great lunch and everyone had a chance to reconnect with friends and meet some new people. Again, if you want one of the Orion ambassadors to set you up with some new friends in the community, Andrew, Mark, and Jay are here. Next up, we have 3 lightning presentations that truly highlight the collaborative nature of this community. Our first presentation comes from the University of Ottawa Cyber Hub. Please welcome Sean Geddes, Executive Advisor to the Associate Vice President, Innovation, Partnerships, and Entrepreneurship, Vincent Jourdan, Professor at the Faculty of Engineering and the Co-Director of the uOttawa-IBM Cyber Range, and Jourdan Arseneau, Senior Director of IT Infrastructure and Operations from the University of Ottawa. Over to you, gentlemen.
Oh, we're good? Perfect. The Cyber Hub is University of Ottawa's hub for cybersecurity and cyber safety research and training. Interdisciplinary in nature, it brings together experts and uOttawa researchers from 7 different faculties, and more generally bringing together research, training, learning, and operations. The Cyber Hub's physical space, set to be ready in 2023, will foster and help drive excellence in these areas, as well as interactions and collaborations between experts in academia, government, and industry. The 5 guiding principles for the Cyber Hub are, and as we like to call them, our 5 I's, are being inclusive, integrated, interactive, interdisciplinary, and innovative. Beyond our 5 I's, there is one more I that is also important to the Hub, and that is IBM. Professor Jourdan will speak a little bit more about this partnership shortly, but first my colleague Jourdan Arseneau will speak to the live Security Operations Center that is located or will be located within the Cyber Hub.
All right, thank you, Sean. So, how do I move this forward? All right, so what was important when we were kind of contemplating the Cyber Hub was really to integrate research and teaching, learning, research, and administrative IT operations. So this close collaborative effort between IBM, the University of Ottawa, and a lot of partners inside the university was really to allow a centralized hub, and Guy Vincent will talk about it in a few minutes, but to really kind of create a partnership. And 2 of the things that I want to outline today are really kind of more of an experiential learning. So as people come through the hub, especially our students and people from inside the community, we're going to situate our live security operations center, of which we have 6 security analysts that work within it. And they're going to be there with the rest of the crew of the Cyber Hub to really kind of transition people from a simulation environment to a real life environment. So people will be able to come to the hub, and whether it's internships or just learning, that's something that we're really looking forward to offering, so that we can train the next generation of cybersecurity experts. I don't know about you guys, but trying to hire security analysts is not fun because there's not a lot of them out there. So this is kind of what we're doing to help shape that. And then finally is really collaboration with research. We deal with a lot of data. We deal with about 800 gigabytes a day of data, about 1.2 billion events going through our security information and event management system. And what we want to do is make that data available in near real time to professors like Guy Vincent. So one of the pilots we worked on this year is providing a live, anonymized data pipeline that goes from our SIM into kind of a holding area that our researchers can access, like Guy Vincent. So instead of having to use old, outdated data sets, they can use live data that's coming in from our firewalls, from our network, from our Active Directory and various things to try to help build the next generation of algorithms that will help protect us and be proactive instead of reactive. So that's a little bit about us and where we're going, but I'll pass it off to Vincent for all the meaty, juicy stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean-Ray. Hi, everyone. So my name is Vincent Jourdan. I'm professor of computer science at Faculty of Engineering of the University of Ottawa. And so I'm teaching cybersecurity. I've been working in cybersecurity for a long time, and I've been working in particular with IBM and with IBM security. And one of the things I've done with IBM security is go down in Cambridge, in the US, where they have this wonderful cyber hub, cyber range, sorry. And when we had this initiative at the faculty, at the university to create the cyber hub, one of the exciting parts is that we are going to create a cyber range there, a cyber range that we create in collaboration with IBM. It's going to be a similar range than the one that they have in the US. It's going to be similar than the one that they have recently opened in Asia. They have one in Europe. And that's the first one that they have. We are going to co-run this range together. So they are going to do their stuff there, and we are going to use it for our own purpose. This is going to be an immersive environment. It's not the kind of cyber range that you have in mind necessarily, where this is basically some sort of lab and some software that runs. No, that's really an immersive, complete experience that can be used for several purposes. For us, when we see this cyber range that we are building, we have 4 different type of vision for it. We want to use it for learning, immersive learning. We want to use it for training, what we call tailored training. We want to use it for research because we are a research institution at the end of the day. And we also want to use it for community building. So if I go quickly over those 4 aspects, those 4 pillars of the range here. First one is immersive learning. So this cyber range, at the end of the day, is a fantastic classroom. It's somewhere to bring our students in. We are going to integrate exercises inside the cyber range across the university. So faculties in engineering, in science, in management, in law, in social science, all of these people, all these students are going to benefit from the cyber range and have experience there, exercise there, and course there. We are also developing professional skills development. So we have a micro program in cybersecurity, and we are going to get this experience to those people who are interested in getting this kind of professional training. We are also partnering with other institutions, with other industries, in order to build into our academic training professional certification. So we are working, for example, with Fortinet. We are, of course, working with IBM. We are talking to other big names in the professional certification realm, where you would go through our training, get your academic training, normal degree, and at the same time you get a training and a professional certification along the line of an NSC or something like that certification as part of the training. So anyone can use that, our students, people who are taking our courses for professional education. But if a partner is interested in something more specific and they want the training to be more reflective of what it is their network actually is, the problem that they have, the architecture that they have, we can also accommodate this kind of thing. So we'll have teams to work with partners in order to provide training that is really tailored to a particular need. So we will have this kind of possibility now at the University of Ottawa. Of course, as I was saying, this is teaching, but research is a big thing at the university, and so we want also to use this opportunity, this cyber range inside the cyber hub to anchor our push towards being an excellence in terms of cybersecurity, in terms of research. We are, as you know, we are in Ottawa, so we are a bilingual university. We are connected to the federal government. There is DND, there is the Canadian Center of Cybersecurity, and there is a lot of activity around there. And we want to use our ground and our range to cement that kind of initiative. So we have a growing team of talent, professors that are leaders in their field related to cybersecurity. To name just a few here, we have, for example, Carlisle Adams, who is well known in the world of cryptography and privacy. We have Roland, who works in networks, security of networks. Paula is interested in artificial intelligence applied to cybersecurity. With Paula, we are also working on the security of artificial intelligence. So we have a growing team there. We have one of the world's most famous software engineer, Lionel, has joined the university a couple of years ago. He works on using artificial intelligence to evaluate the security of software. So it's a software layer security in the cloud. For example, if you deploy your solution there, he will do research on trying to find vulnerabilities there. I work more these days in cyber crime prevention, of course, and we have Paria also has recently joined the university, and she works in IoT and low-level firmware type of security. We have a growing team. Those are 6 profs amongst many, and so we have the capability of doing great research. We want to anchor that around the cyber range here in our initiative. And of course, having that new shiny cyber range in a brand new building, STEM building, we are going to use that, of course, to organize all kinds of events, bring kids from school on campus, do some sensibilization operations. We are going to use that to try to attract more people, more diverse people who are not necessarily interested in this kind of thing currently, but should. And so this is going to be for us a very good basis for that exercise. So that's what we are doing. We have partners already. We are interested in talking to each and every one of you, either because you would like to benefit from this initiative and you want either training or research project to be done with us, please reach out. If you are interested in influencing what we are doing, we are at the start here. We are also very open to having more partners. So if that is in your cards, please talk to us as well. So that's us, and that's a few of our contacts. 0. How about that?
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Guy Vincent, Jean-Ray, and Sean, for our second lightning presentation, Living Labs, Developing a Formula for Transformative Change. Please welcome Lisa Klimstroff, Senior Manager, Business Development from Sengen. Welcome.
Thanks so much. All right, thank you everyone for being here, and hopefully you've digested your lunch and are awake still. Thank you, Orion, for having me, and that was a great presentation, gentlemen. Thank you. I love my job at Sengen. My name is Lisa, and hopefully you'll understand a little bit about why I love it once I go through this presentation with you. So what is Sengen, you might be thinking? Some of you know us, and some of you whom I've been speaking with today, it was the first time you've heard of us. We are a not-for-profit, and we're funded federally as well by the Ontario government. And our goal really is to help make Canadian companies in the tech sector more globally competitive. We do this through 2 different streams. So Obviously, we're all painfully aware of the talent challenge that exists. We try and help solve this element through talent development, working to train professionals and students through our Ascension Academy in courses like Next Generation Network, technologies like Docker and Kubernetes, machine learning and Python, DevOps, and this is a huge part of the equation. The other piece is by working with small and medium-sized enterprises, leveraging our data centers. We have 4 data centers in Ontario, but that doesn't mean that companies outside of Ontario can't access our data centers. Many companies access them virtually using jump servers or SSH keys to successfully validate their tech solution. We also have 2 living labs, and our projects are coupled with support from our project management team and engineering support and expertise as well. The goal ultimately is to help our companies accelerate the deployment and productization and really decrease their burn rate and decrease risk by discovering any challenges early in the development cycle, as well as really just supporting them in terms of skill testing or validating their solution in a manner that will help them secure investment or large-scale opportunities. Ultimately, our clients will grow in size and support GDP growth in Canada as well as jobs. As we know, the global landscape has pushed a lot of challenges on our critical industries in Canada. Challenges like labor shortage, supply chain issues, and then there's a lot of pushes towards environmental, health, and safety regulations that these clients need to adhere to. So to address these challenges, companies are turning to leveraging smart technology, things like AI and IoT devices as well to support that. Ultimately, a lot of these types of technologies are being brought forward through small and medium-sized businesses. These companies need to overcome commercialization barriers and in particular struggle to connect with critical leaders in the industries. And this is really where the magic of our living labs comes in. And I have been directly supporting one of our living labs in particular, which I'll get to in a moment, a particular pet project of mine. But living labs ultimately are interactive spaces, spaces where companies can come together, our technology solution providers as well as industries and academia. They come to collaborate, they come to create and validate and test solutions that are actually in the real life context. Living labs essentially are here for communities to discover innovations. And they help to benefit our SMEs by allowing an opportunity for them to test their actual technology in a real life environment. Some of these environments are really challenging from a climate perspective, perhaps high heat, high humidity, and others are more challenging from an RF propagation standpoint. So having a chance to actually try their technology in the space is critically important. As well, it affords them credibility in that space. Imagine trying to sell, say, a greenhouse technology product into a greenhouse, never having tested it or had an opportunity to try it in that environment. So you can imagine the type of credibility that these projects afford these companies. And in fact, having users test out their products earlier on helps to quicken the development life cycle because if they need to iterate, that's done earlier on. And for the industries as well, it helps them. They have a voice in the matter and help to bring to life important things that will actually solve problems for them. So I've seen this firsthand in our smart greenhouse living lab. So this is my pet project. This is a greenhouse that we have partnered with. It is a family-run, multi-generational greenhouse in Kingsville, Ontario. They are a lovely family, and they grow mini eggplants as well as tomatoes that are sold through the Moochie brand in Costco. They're delicious. I have nothing to do with the sales, so I can fully support them. You should try them. They're delicious. Anyway, at this particular site, we've installed a lot of infrastructure. We've worked with Bell for commercial LTE. We've worked with 11X to install a LoRa gateway, as well as a plethora of sensors at the head and the base of the plants. is a hydroponic greenhouse. We're measuring with these sensors parameters like light, oxygen, carbon dioxide, humidity, temperature, electrical conductivity. The data that we're gathering is really important for 3 different reasons. One, the grower can access it and help himself as the host of this living lab make important decisions that affect his business and improve his yield. The second is that data is really hard to come by for companies that are using machine learning. There's really no actual data that they can get their hands on in this highly secretive, highly competitive industry and space. So allowing some of our clients that are trying to bring solutions to market access to this data is important for that reason. Additionally, our clients that are trying to bring to market an IoT sensor can now reference these commercially available sensors data sets that we're getting and reference particular parameters and see if what they're getting is actually accurate and in line with some of these commercial sensors and make adjustments where needed. At this particular greenhouse as well, we have Wi-Fi, which is offered through A-Century. So there's 3 particular projects I would like to speak to on this greenhouse. So we've done more, but I'm just going to highlight 3. There was an autonomous tug by CyberWorks, and we did a 3D scan of the greenhouse. So they wanted to actually train their tug before bringing it to the greenhouse, using our 3D scan in a digital twin environment to ensure that it would safely navigate the pathways while pulling on things of produce behind them. ET-Grow, this is a company that actually was bringing to bear an IoT sensor to round out their ERP solution. And through this experiment or testing, they actually had a chance to really speak with the greenhouse host. You know, what type of polling rate would be most valuable to you? And they made adjustments to their firmware as well as their battery to support that polling rate. Additionally, they made some adjustments to their packaging. Ingress protection in this environment is hugely important with this high temperature, high humidity, and even power sprayers being used in this environment. And Pulse Industrial. This is a company that has an IoT solution that monitors steam traps for leaks, carbon dioxide leaks. So it's a clean tech company, but traditionally selling into manufacturing. They actually installed over 400 of these sensors within the greenhouse to try and validate their solution in this vertical. So where clean tech meets ag tech made for an interesting solution. We also have a smart mining living lab. This is up near Sudbury at Norcat. Again, our clients have an opportunity to test out mine tech technologies in this harsh environment where it's extremely challenging with respect to RF propagation. We've coupled and partnered up here with Nokia as well as Northern Light Technologies, and we have installed private LTE as well as Wi-Fi for companies to test there. All of our projects in the living labs also have access to our data centers to test out the back end of their solutions. So perhaps the client's looking to scale test their solution to see how many IoT sensors can be on their platform before their system speed, accuracy, and reliability is affected. Or perhaps they have machine learning or AI integrated into their platform, and they're wanting to do some runtime optimization or algorithm accuracy testing or model training. So we certainly support a project from end-to-end validation through these living labs. Also, I should mention that our clients have an opportunity to understand safety precautions. We take them through extensive training for both biosecurity for the greenhouse, as there's a huge virus ripping through the greenhouse industry, the brown rugose tomato virus, and we want to make sure that we don't end up causing any harm to our greenhouse host. So our clients have to take this training and they wear full PPE to ensure that they protect the greenhouse grower. And similarly, there is safety training and precautions that are needed to be taken in the mining environment. And they have to wear the proper approved PPE in the mine, take safety training, and their product, in fact, is inspected as well to ensure that there is no unwanted RF signals permeating from the device and that it's intrinsically safe and won't cause any type of explosions or what have you in the mine. So 3 projects as well that we've done in the mine with Fort AI, Smart Cone, as well as Rock Mass. all of these companies really were looking to check their network communication, whether it was through our LTE or Wi-Fi, and in some cases both, ensuring that they could toggle from one to the other as needed with the appropriate network speeds for production type deployments. And all of them did validate that their solutions were able to do that. So the outcomes of these types of projects, often new features are realized, or product enhancements, or optimizing cost in some manner. But really, they drive digital transformation. They support IP in Canada, and that's really important. And again, they improve the industrial competitiveness as well, trying to help these clients or industries rather, move up the digital adoption curve through some digital adherence is really, really important. So what's next? We can envision a Canada that has many more living labs in several industries, showcasing and validating products, and generating blueprints as recipes of success that will help improve digital adoption and competitiveness within that industry. Also, hopefully continued support for our SME programs in terms of funding and having their ability to test out and validate their solutions, and incorporating post-secondary institutions for experiential learning will help to address some of the talent issues as well. So feel free to reach out to me or find me on LinkedIn, Lisa Klimstra. I would love to connect with all of you. So thank you very much, and that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Up next, we have our final presentation, The Challenge of the Virtual Campus. Please welcome Ali Hirji, PhD candidate from York University and faculty member at Durham College. Over to you, Ali.
Thank you. All right, so looking at your slides, I have come with very little slides, which basically means I don't do a lot of work. Not as much as what you folks are doing, but I will say this. Before I begin, I remember 5 years or 6 years ago, Mark, you can correct me, the conversations around Sengen, and even the conversations with Heather Achudo at IBM around the lab at U of Ottawa, and we were just talking about it at that time. Well done is better than well said. Well done on all of the achievements that you've had over the last couple of years, especially that cyber range is state of the art and has put Canada on the map in many cases, and is an institution that we look up to at Durham College. Also with Sengen, with SmartCone, you had something to do with the Whitby shuttle and the autonomous shuttle as well. So thank you for all of the work that you've been doing. With that, I've covered 30 seconds of the 12 minutes that I have, and now I need to jump into my content. Now, I don't have a product or a program to talk about, but I have a thought and an experience to walk you through. So as my colleague just mentioned, my name is Ali. I do my PhDs. I will end up finishing it. I'm in my 5th year. It will happen. But I'm also faculty in AI and cybersecurity. There is a brain in me somewhere, I guarantee you. And I had spent 8 years of my life at ORION, and I'll never forget that time with Alfonso, Delilah, and the likes. I learned so very much. But here's one interesting moment that hit me. Although working at ORION, I got hands-on with telecom and with network connectivity, one of the things that I didn't think about is how teaching pedagogies change when you are completely virtual. Now, I'm going to take you back a little bit to, let's say, mid-March-ish, 2020, and I was in my lab doing some work, and I hear my students in the background, and all I hear is, yo, schools are getting shut down. Doug's taking this seriously, bro. Now, I'm hearing schools, I'm thinking about my job, why are we getting shut down? So I run into the lab and say, what's going on? And they say, well, guess what? After spring break, schools are going to be shut down for 2 weeks because Mr. and Mrs. COVID is becoming a big problem. Fair enough. I obviously begin to panic, but I don't show it. And I immediately bring my faculty together and I say, hey, folks, guess what? We're now probably going to be going virtual. I expect President Lovisa to talk about this shortly. We're going virtual. What are we going to do? Well, everything that you were doing in the class, you're just going to do it in front of a camera. Zoom, Teams, GoToMeetings, whatever you want. Just get it done. We're this close to the end of the semester. You know how Mark Twain says that a lie can travel halfway across the world while the truth is still tying its shoelaces? Well, that lie traveled very quickly, and I can tell you I was absolutely lying to them. Because teaching in front of a camera teaching on Zoom, teaching on a virtual campus is not about doing what you were in the classroom, doing it online. That banking model of education got extremely questioned when we went virtual. And that's why when Paulo Freire in Pedagogy of the Oppressed says we need to move more towards a participant education, that's something that we went through. You know, and I said a lot of other lies to my team as well, like, oh, this is just a 2-week shutdown, don't worry, we'll be back after a month. Never happened, and we're never gonna go back to what we were before. Hence this slide, which for those of you, I know Alfonso's a big blockchain person, Simon Chen, you live and breathe blockchain as well. This is a metaphor of a blockchain. And all I'm trying to say is that we need to go with new models of trust around education. Centralized trust is no longer the way in which you can deliver education in AI and cyber, whether it's coding, whether it's running your cyber ranges, whatever it may be. You've got to establish a new form of trust with your learners. And here's the fundamental issue that we face right now. That issue is, and I do not take any benefit for coming up with this. This is actually a statement put together by Tushar Singh from Minute School. Had the opportunity to work with him, raise some capital, about 10 to 15 million in seed funding over the last couple of years. And he's built a platform called Minute School, and in a conference at Durham College, he said something very powerful. And I'll read it verbatim. He said, the problem with our instructional pedagogy, mind you, he's speaking to professors in AI and in cybersecurity, the problem with our instructional pedagogy is that it is based on consumption. Instead, it needs to be based on engagement. We don't have to be looking at learning management systems, we need to be looking at learning engagement systems. I'm looking at the eCampus Ontarios of the world, the Contact Notes of the world, who have been struggling and dealing with this through a variety of different ways. How do we get students more engaged when our traditional model of teaching them how to code, teaching them how to manage a SOC has shifted dramatically? Now, just to give you a little bit of an insight, and one of my colleagues who's a PI with us, the principal investigator, Sabah Siddiqui, is sitting right here, having to deal with me. Welcome, welcome. One of the things that we do at our AI Hub and the Center for Cyber is we don't find the next best thing after sliced bread. We do short, small projects with different companies. We build prototypes and allow them to integrate it into their workflow. We don't claim any of the IP on it. They own the IP. My students get a little bit of experience. Bob's your uncle. If they get hired by those companies, great. It's a great tool to bring students in, to market the college, but also to give back to the community, like with Smart Cone Technologies. So our traditional way of doing things was, well, first a company comes in or I come in with a problem. Now my mantra has always been, with many developers, we build a lot of solutions and go looking for the problems afterwards. My mantra has always been, let's meet in the lab, I can control the engagement and present to them a problem. You see, in that model of education, I'm controlling all the variables. If the problem is, for example, a medical doctor wants to annotate, or a hospital wants to annotate data at triage on demand, that's the problem, and I can control everything else. Like the network connectivity, thanks to Orion. Like some of the firewalls, thanks to the different vendors that we have supporting us. I can control it. Furthermore, even the data that they're touching and collecting, I can manage that too, because I can build the data pipelines and create the infrastructure that is required. Again, the students are in the lab with me. Sanitizing that data, which is picking the problem that they need to go after, they can come to me in the lab or they can come to my office and run certain things by me, and then I have the final say. Very much a banking model of education, because bear in mind, either they have to graduate in a couple of years or they're in a lot of trouble back home, or if we don't deliver that product to that company in 3 months, I'm out of a job. And in this economy, I don't want to be out of a job. So we got to meet these deadlines. So I'm going to move them away from all of the noise, or so-called noise. Then we're going to convert. I am going to lead them and tell them, I want you to use a compiler-based language like Golang. I want you to use these tools, or this Elasticsearch tool, or whatever have you. I'm not paid by any of these vendors. I'm just dropping those names because we use those products. So I can tell them exactly what to do to convert that data into something usable. And then, of course, help them to train and test it. And then again, I am that person, or my PIs like Sabah are the people that look at them and tell them, all right, you're going down the right track, the results are good, keep going, keep moving. And then, of course, with any AI or cybersecurity model, you utilize it, and then you take it through the whole scenario. The problem with all of this is the meta problem. And by meta, I don't mean Facebook. I mean meta in the sense of monitoring, engagement, testing, and analysis. Meta, for those of you that don't know, the word metaverse wasn't coined by Mr. Zuckerberg either. There's an article from BBC which talks about where this word came from. But meta for us is truly self-reflective. Number one, we can no longer monitor what students are doing in the lab because they are in this virtual environment. We cannot give feedback in that typical way, which is, yes, you're going down the right path. Yes, I can see what you're doing on the dashboards. That has changed dramatically. We cannot even monitor some of the machines or technologies or algorithms that they're using because they're no longer operating within the lab. And for a period of time, we frowned on that. For the first 6 months, as Sabah can attest, it was extremely difficult to get any work done because students are looking at other elements. Engagement. Once upon a time, the engagement was, this is our team meeting, you gotta come in for a team huddle, we'd have a DC chant and everybody's together, but that's changed dramatically. And now we're starting to see students talking a lot about badging, a lot about different elements of the process. Testing. We're now testing in multiple different environments where I have absolutely no control. For example, I do have cases where a student had to go back home, and because we've adopted a bit of a virtual model, I have to work within that. Now I have to look at ways in which I can create a testing environment that is scalable, not something that I had to look at pre-pandemic. And then more importantly, our analysis. Previously, us, the PIs, would find out what our solution is, present it, and move it forward. Now, students have formed Discord server chat groups. Students have formed multiple other ways to talk to one another. Students are working at different times. Students are seeing different things depending on what time they're researching a problem. If I'm giving them a threat feed to look at in real time, depending on what time you're looking at it, you're going to see different things. And that world has changed dramatically for us. The controls that we had are not just about, yeah, we can see that the students are coming to class and they're sleeping with their eyes open and that's about it. The controls that we had are no longer there. And I realized that, especially when I had to give my lectures, which were normally 3 hours long, but I finished them online in 90 minutes. All of those visual cues that I could look at, all of those opportunities to present something different based on the tech that I had in the classroom was now out of my jurisdiction. I would lecture in 90 minutes, and then the next 60 minutes, I'd smile at them like I'm modeling for toothpaste. We had nothing else to do. This made things extremely challenging. And for us now, we don't have a solution. We haven't perfected this. Perfection is progress, and we're making progress towards a virtual environment to teach AI and cyber, which is based on gamification. And if you can't already tell, blockchain has somehow found its way into my life in a very, very big way. You know why? It does promote a lot of gamification. It does promote a new model of trust. But what it also does do for us is that it allows us to get into new collaborations where we place the trust on the student. If you've watched the film Stand and Deliver, when he talks about the concept of ganas, that's exactly what we're going with this. I'm in this situation right now where if students are able to crack a particular problem with a particular library in Python, we give them certain badges. We're starting to look at how we can use social media as part of the evaluation as well. How many badges did you hit? How quickly did you hit it? And we are looking at solutions with vendors like Minute School and many others to look at how we can rethink our assessments, rethink all of the different elements that go into delivering education without having the students there. Now, I'm not saying if a student gets a Python script wrong, I'm going to pass them. But how do you engage them in a way where even if they've got it wrong, how do you give them a reminder based on their learning habits online? How are we going to use that data and metadata to create an online campus that is allowing students to study at their own time, develop at their own time, but give them feedback in a gamified environment? So it's a work in progress, and we'll see where we get. But I'm going to close by saying one little thing. As we're working on this, my first boss at Orion was Darren Graham, and he said something very powerful. He said, innovation is not set in stone, it's set in Jell-O. I don't know about you, but I really like Jell-O. We're going to keep innovating on this, and we'll see where we land. For all things Jell-O, AI and cyber, and chicken biryani and butter chicken, follow me on Twitter at Abbas Speaks. Thank you, Orion, for having me, and congratulations on a wonderful conference.
Thank you so much, Ali. I'm up for Jell-O, definitely. This has been a great session. Thank you all so much. It's always really inspiring to hear the individual stories, all the things that are happening in this community. I know there's so many more, but it was a really great opportunity today to hear them all. Thank you guys so much. One more round of applause.